Hello, everybody, and welcome back. Just as it so happens, my mount just snapped before starting recording. Maybe it's a blessing in disguise. I kind of like holding the mic, actually, a little bit. So, what'd you think? What'd you think after this long month away? We're listening to these very warm IEMs. Did you think of anything? Anything sounded better to you immediately? Notwithstanding the fact that my recordings are not perfect, and some IEMs are just going to sound wonkier than they do in real life. Sorry if your favorite IEM in this video sounds pretty bad, but I'll tell you what I thought. I'll tell you throughout the video what these things sound like in my own real life ears, not just what you're hearing in the demo. Here's what I think. The HBB is the only thing to consider besides the Maestro. There, done. You can stop the video. I mean, honestly, it's a little bit of a spoiler ahead kind of thing, but yeah. As far as I'm concerned, the HBB at $20 is the only sound that I really want in the category of warm and relaxing until you get to the Maestro. Now, we're going to spend the whole video exploring exactly why. Hint, it's going to be a lot of what you just heard again. But some interesting points to discover, some different tastes you might have as you listen to each different IEM. They do offer different personalities, so you might just prefer something that I just don't. Now, that being said, let's start with a few pretty strong contenders, especially the Legato, which just got released recently. I don't really like the Legato. I think it's cartoonishly bassy. Oh gosh, somebody said I shouldn't load my opinions before you get a chance to listen to things, but well, there it is. Sorry about that. The Legato is just so bassy, and you're about to hear that. But we're going to see how it compares to the IE200 from Sennheiser, which is not classically seen as a very warm set by people, but I included it in this video because it's got this relaxing neutrality to it without being somehow suffocatingly boring. I think some people find it boring, but and it's dangerously close to sounding boring. But you know what? I don't want to get ahead of myself. Listen to the Legato, listen to the IE200, and let's throw in some timeless AE as a kind of $200 comparison point to those other two.
I'm standing all by myself in the shadows, surrounded by the silence heaping in. Alone with my thoughts, no one to follow. Running on time that's paid thin. Can someone hear me screaming at the top of my lungs? Tell me that I'm only dreaming. Can someone take away this feeling? Feels like I am barely breathing. Come and save me. Tell me that I'm only dreaming. Everything around me spinning. Need someone to wake me up before it's too late. 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 Up before it's too
All right, now, I will say this right off the bat, at least playing off of my playback devices at home, that there's a very good chance that your timeless AE played off as a little sharper than it does in real life. In real life, the timeless AE is, especially compared to known bright gear, is quite soft on the edges. Now, compare that sound of the timeless AE to something like the Legato or the Sennheiser IE200, and suddenly the timeless AE sounds like it's the brighter of the bunch. And this kind of holds true relatively in real life. The Legato is much softer on the edges. And it does so with a huge amount of bass thumping and rounding out the sound. Too much for me. And the Sennheiser IE200 is this very balanced, very kind of like playing both ends of things, but not like too much color in either end. Not too much bass, not too much treble. It's pretty much a dead even listening experience, but it's just enough voice in certain places that you feel like you're still hearing some richness of the music come out. The Sennheiser IE200 to me, honestly, and it was so close to being completely like a C grade. Like if there was just a little bit of tweaking in the wrong place in the Sennheiser product there, I could have totally imagined putting it on my do not buy list, on my rankings list. See the description if you want to see a full breakdown of all my gear that I've ranked and recommended so far, or not recommended so far, the opposite. But the IE200 really is, I'm going to say this right now, is one of my top 3, like in my personal rotation, my personal collection amongst all the gear I've ever listened to. My Unique Melody Mest Mark II. Okay, that's number 1 for me. It's bright. It doesn't belong in this video, but I'm mentioning it. The FATfreq Maestro SE. Beautiful. This is coming in a bit. In this video, this actually does belong in this warm and relaxing, easygoing kind of best of video. And then number 3 is and it's missing the tips at the moment, the Sennheiser IE200. This Sennheiser IE200 really is like what I would go to if I wasn't like a reviewer who's constantly having to put everything else in my ear all the time. This is what I would put in my ears whenever I wanted a break from the excitement of the Mest or the rich, bass-heavy Maestro SE. This is my brain is tired. I want to relax. It's not warm relaxing at all, but it is relaxing. It is a neutral relaxing, so it belongs in this video. I can't recommend the IE200 enough for an alternate in your rotation at home. I really do. I don't even get affiliate anything from it. It's an Amazon link in my description or my rankings. It's not an affiliate Amazon link even. They took away my seller's account at some point because I wasn't selling enough. So I am utterly just recommending it out of personal, kindness to you, okay, from my experience. Now, that being said, the legato, let's go back a little bit on what we heard. The legato is just my problem with saying why it's too much bass for me, and you're going to hear more of this in small samples coming, but the legato is so bassy that it intrudes where it should not. Okay, if you're gonna pump up the bass incredibly, like we hear in the FATfreq Maestro SE, which is coming, you also have to pump up the treble. You have to. There's a reason why that V shape has to exist. You can't just go pure bass and not pump up the treble, because what happens is everything just sounds completely warm. Even female vocals and electronic beats that should be in the higher, more leaner headspace, they end up sounding muffled or they end up sounding bloated. And even though the legato tries its best, and it does a pretty good job at not being bloated or muddy sounding, it nonetheless has frequencies occurring that you really just don't want to hear when a higher note is hit. It's just unwelcome. It's unnaturally bassy. That's my 2 cents on the legato. It just doesn't, it's really fun if you enjoy it. I'm not going to, poop on somebody's parade. I'm not going to yuck your yum. If you enjoy that level of unnatural bass, it's done tastefully for at least unnatural, as far as unnatural bass is concerned, but it's just unnatural. It's not realistic, and it's too far gone for me to appreciate it personally. Let's move on. We're going to talk now about we're going to look at and listen to the what's it called? The Kai, from whatever brand that one was. That Tri-Kai? I think it was Tri-Kai. I always forget my brand names. We're going to listen to the Kai, which is a previous collaboration from HBB, the same person who made the QKZ HBB, my current favorite warm set, and at a budget. And we're going to see how the Kai compares to the HBB, because they're made by the same guy. They're both very warm. What exactly is the difference? And we're about to hear that. Besides the HBB and Kai comparison, what else do we have here coming up? We have the... What is happening? Oh. Okay. So we're going to just sample in a little more legato just to sprinkle it in, just to have some refresher on it. But then we'll listen to a lot more later.
I am dreaming. Take me to a place where seeing is believing. Tell me that I'm only dreaming. Can someone take away this feeling? Feels like I am barely breathing. Come and save me. Tell me that I'm only dreaming. Everything around me spinning. Need someone to wake me up before it's too late. Tell me that I'm only dreaming.
Okay. So you can probably hear it pretty evidently here with electronic music with its variety of frequency responses being delivered in the track. But the Kai is immediately more relaxed about what it tries to do compared to the HBB. The HBB is this, like, I keep harking on it because it's like so true, and it's like so far removed from biased. I mean, yeah, HBB has helped me in the past. He's got my he put in some good word for me with Linsol. He was probably instrumental in getting me sponsored by them, and I just want to make that potential bias completely clear here as I rave about his collaboration on his products. But I mean, honestly, it is really good. It's $20, and it's no joke the best balance that I've ever heard with warm and bright at the same time, while overall leaning towards that warm end. So it's just like, aside from, you know, like the FATfreq Maestro, it is such a phenomenal set, and it's only $20. It's like unfathomable. It really does, for me in this video, it beats everything up to $200 and $300. Like, if you have not already considered getting the HBB for $20, or not considered getting it already in this video, I think you're a madman. just buy it. It's $20. See for yourself if you like it, because you might love it. You might genuinely love it. And the Kai is something different, though. The Kai doesn't try to balance bright with warm. It's more leaning warm than the HBB. It goes further in its warmth, in the low end, in its bass presence, in that kind of warm sounding bass area. And maybe it's the sub bass, whatever it is. You know, everything's relative. It could just be a reduction in the treble, blah 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 blah. But the Kai has an apparent cozy sound, and it's something that I think, if you're into that, personally, I'm not that often. I don't often find myself wanting that cozy blanketed sound. It's not muffled exactly, but it's not exactly, you know, forward with its instrumentation either in its detail. But there are definitely going to be people out there, I would think, that maybe want a cozy sound in their collection. And the Kai is only about, $60 to $75? I can never keep track of the sales of these things all the time. But it's not a bad buy to consider having in your collection if you dig that kind of relaxed sound. Personally, I don't. I actually really prefer the HBB at $20, even though it's much cheaper. I still prefer it. Heck, I prefer it over the $200-something Timeless AE as it currently stands. Well, that might be because I actually have a soft spot for the original Timeless and its brightness. I'm a bright-leaning kind of guy, but whatever. The legato was heard just a little bit at the beginning here, and I think we could hear just how much the bass can be unwelcome, unless you heard it and you were like, yes, I want that much bass. Well, that's up to you. Not my thing. So next we're going to look at female vocals. This is where I think I'm really going to make a stronger case about how, whether or not you can hear it or not, because it's just a demo, I'll tell you about my real life experience of these female vocals coming up. But we're going to hear how the legato and other bass heavy IEMs that don't have enough treble play pumped in could end up giving the female singer a lower growl, a lower resonance in her harmonics, than a lower harmonic, I should say, than we would want it to be. So people's vocals generally sit, female or male, are mids, upper mids, treble. Okay, and there's some, like in the lower male voices, you might get some on the bass. But a female vocalist who's going just a little bit low, but normally playing pretty high with herself, with her voice, that's not going to be something you want to hear a lot of bass around, because you want her voice to stand clear, like a peak amongst the rest of the track. And when I lose that sense of isolation of her voice, when I hear her blend in with the other things because the bass is up and those very low bass decibels are actually pumped up, so her lower harmonics are unnaturally high, I don't enjoy that. I really don't. And the legato, you're going to hear it. I should not be priming people to like look for things that I feel, but I'm doing it anyway. Sorry. The legato does that, and it's totally not something I dig. I'm also going to throw in the Eco OH5, so you can it's not a lot of it. It's going to be like a small snippet, because honestly, I don't want it to overstay its welcome. I'm going to say right now that the OH5 is so relaxed, but it's not quite as nicely balanced in its relaxation as like the IE200. Even though OH5 is like $500-$600, and it definitely is a certain kind of warm sound that some people are super attracted to, and it might be your favorite set, it's just not mine. So I'm going to keep it brief, because it is a warm set that deserves consideration. It is nice. It's just not my favorite. All right, let's listen to the female vocals already. I'll stop talking, and we'll comment on what we hear, if I haven't already commented it preemptively.
Will you let me come closer to you? I know that you're older, but what can I do? I leave in the morning, I'll forget that I am surely falling. Grew up in a case of fragile glass, but hammer away, it's time to crash. And as it shatters, let me shatter into you. The soft candle glow, the music so slow, your skin on my skin. The room is spinning, nerve on my bone. I'm shaking, oh no. I'm talking though I shouldn't be. I lost all sensibility. Ooh, I've never been so fragile. It's been a year and 40 days since you picked me up and swept me away. I wanted to run with you into the midnight sun with you. Now I sit around and rust in rain, turn into dust as I just wait for someone to hold me like you did that night. I still remember the soft candle glow, the music so slow, your skin on my skin. The room
Okay. Did anything sound different at home on your playback device than how I described it? Or did it sound actually kind of similar to how I described it? When I heard, if I'm hearing it through my playback device, the legato, when her voice came on, the legato instantly had her voice recess, at least relative to the dominant bass frequencies that suddenly got lifted, right? It sounded like she was hiding away a little bit. Now, in real life, I'll tell you that listening to the same track with the legato, you do this thing in real life where you try to up the volume until vocals become clear. I don't like to do that in the demos because I don't want to blast systems necessarily. Maybe I should. Maybe I should match the vocals to each other. Oh my goodness, that might be crazy though. I usually just do a general overall volume match, but something to consider. Well, in real life, the vocals on the legato, the female vocals, have this effect where if you raise the volume till she's heard, the bass becomes huge and like kind of not very bearable, at least for me. But maybe some people are just into like boom, boom, boom in their ears. Certainly. But even if you do that, what happens in that situation is what I described before, which is you hear lower ends to her voice that are unnaturally present. That should not be there normally. It conveys the wrong sense of what a female vocal should sound like. But maybe somebody wants this set for certain kinds of music, for certain kinds of feelings. I don't know. I really feel like I'm harking too much on the legato here, like too much. But it's what I feel like, and I feel like it's getting hype a little bit. People love that it's bassy, but I guess I'm the person who rains on the parade a little bit sometimes, and I'm sorry if it's your favorite thing. I'm sorry. I don't mean to yuck your yum. I'm just telling you where I find yuckiness personally. But anyway, what else did I think? I think the Timeless AE is a good solid bet. I think the IE200 is my favorite bet for just relaxing. But the HBB just keeps coming. Every time it comes back up, it just proves itself about how it presents enough of that female vocalist's presentation. It pushes her voice up where it should be, while at the same time giving you that bass structure that gives you that warm sound that this video is dedicated for. The HBB is just consistently the best balance, personally. My aesthetic favorite, okay? It might not be the most capable in certain areas. It certainly has some spots where it either resonates wrong or something's happening with the drivers where it's not like as clean sounding as like the Maestro, but I mean, it is the tuning profile in any case is so practically perfect for somebody who wants warm gear but doesn't want to lose detail that it's so hard to recommend you go to anything else unless you just want those different flavors. Okay, the Timeless AE has a little bit more detail, a little leaner bass. It's not like lean. In real life, it's pretty soft listening experience, especially if you're coming from something bright like the Dioko or the original Timeless. But the AE, nonetheless, if you go from it to the HBB is just obviously warmer, bassier. But the Timeless AE is a good middle ground if you don't want to go too warm, but you don't want to go as neutral and relaxed sounding as the Sennheiser IE200. So the Timeless AE is this like kind of very almost perfect balance of these different camps of listening preferences. So that's something to consider, perhaps. Besides that, I don't want to miss anything here. The Kai is, again, just a warm, lush, kind of relaxed experience, like super warm, but tastefully done. If you want super warm, but you don't want any like forward detail in the upper end, I would recommend the Kai. It does well at giving you that relaxed listening experience, that warmth, that coziness, without being cartoonishly so. The legato is a shining example of what happens if you take bass, I think, too far. But there's probably an audience for it. Who am I kidding? There's an audience for everything. There's probably a large group of people who are just waiting for something like the legato. Not for me. Okay, now the last track we're going to listen to is By Yourselves. I'm not going to say anything. It's just going to be, who are we kidding? We're hearing the same effects no matter what you listen to. These IEMs hardly ever have a drastic experience across the genres, okay? They're usually pretty consistent. Like if you listen to the HBB, the QKZ HBB, on electronic or on female vocalists or instrumentals that we're about to hear, jazz, you're going to have a very similar impression, okay? So this last one is all I need. I usually have these videos go longer. I usually have more tracks to share, but honestly, I'm getting more into this like rhythm where, I can listen to something for one track, and I could probably tell you what it's going to sound like on other tracks, especially with the tracks that I'm choosing on these playlists. They have, I think, good variety within each track of what's happening, or at least a strong hint of what you could conclude about future listening experiences. So here you go. Here's your last track. We've got some guitar. We've got some drums. So, it's a nice jazz track, modern jazz. Enjoy. If you liked everything you had to hear, guys, support me. Bookmark my affiliate link for Linsol when you go shopping. It seriously helps me, not really just financially, but I think my partnership with Linsol might be better if people use my links with them. More opportunities might come my way if people use those links. So please consider bookmarking that. Support me on Patreon if you like, or just leave a comment, like, etc., etc., etc. I'll see you guys around. Peace. It's been lovely. Wow, I'm so happy to be back reviewing. See ya.